Let me. Hey, welcome
Hey,
back to the Daily Dose of Dopamine. I'm Susan. That's Robert. Oh, excuse me. That's Dr. Robert.
I appreciate you saying it. I'm getting
And
used to
I
it
love it.
myself.
Man, I feel like I got that degree right along with you, man. It was hard.
You are a significant part of it. You're in my acknowledgments.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
yeah. When you say
So
it, you really are. I wrote you up. So yes.
sweet. So we were talking about one versus many. We were talking about the fact that perhaps, we don't know for sure, but perhaps 8 years ago when the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge happened, maybe there was only one big organization.
And by the way, just to say this is in the context of the Shake Challenge. If you don't know about it, please go to yesandexercise.org, look it up, and then come back and share your thoughts because this is a developing, burgeoning thing. So yes, you were
Yes.
saying multiple
As
ALS
a,
one. I don't know.
yes, and in the Parkinson's world, there are many different supportive
Right?
organizations that have different foci, if that's the right word.
Sure, I like that.
Um, and that's wonderful, and it it does what. So Robert, I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, Chip was on the board of Shark Savers, which was, as it turned out, one of many organizations dedicated toward not slicing off shark fins and dropping them back in the ocean
Yeah.
to die. And in the end, Shark Savers was folded into Wild Aid, so it had a happy
Got it.
ending.
Got it.
But many of them just sort of couldn't survive because there were too many of them, and they, you know, so our resources were people's resources were divided in the shark world. Well, that's what I was fearing was happening without us identifying yes
It's
and
a fair
exercise.
concern. You're right to do so because when people say Parkinson's, and this is a large part of who we are and what we're about. We're about changing the narrative, right? And we're in a somewhat revolutionary space of declaring ourselves as worthy, based on the research that's been done, and it's manifested right in several of these keynote speeches, and the evidence is there. Um, it is possible, and as we know, we've seen too, that people get into a mindset of scarcity and they become defensive about who we are and what we're trying to do. And we saw just the opposite. Annie Gomes, from the Parkinson's Rockies group, who has already
Oh
aired
yeah,
this
yeah,
book. If you
yeah.
haven't seen her, please look at her. She was happy to share what they had done in the Rockies and talked about the work within groups they did with Davis Finney and other local groups within the Denver community. And we want to extend that to say, yeah, I mean, how do we work together, so everyone can have a seat at the table? And there's just there's a practical reality to being a business, and we are a nonprofit business, that we have to have some money, nowhere near the millions and millions others do, but we have to have some money to operate at a bare bones level and continue to prove ourselves.
To
And
develop.
that's what we're fighting for right now with the Shake Challenge. We're fighting for relevance and existence
I was going to say survival.
and survival. That's right.
It's
To not have our shark fins cut off.
yeah, and drop back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there are several thoughts. When we were at the PMD Alliance conference in DC a couple weeks ago, I was really stunned how many different people and speakers and organizations had some experience with applying improv into what they were doing.
I really didn't pick up on that at all. Go ahead and tell me.
Just little tip. Well, I mean, it's a focus for Larry, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's what he's doing. But if
Very
you think
different.
about Margot, it's a focus for Margot. It's what she.
Margot wasn't there last. She wasn't at
No,
the
she
conference.
wasn't. She wasn't. She's just another. That she is another example. Um, the woman who Cynthia Fox, who does the speech.
LSVT.
Yeah, so she did. She had talked about including improv.
And that
And
made
my,
sense.
my, my point kind of is it was touched on. And so it's like, it's a little bit of whispering. People don't, have what you and I need them to have yet, which is this level of understanding. You know, my
Yeah,
Fox Foundation has. We all know they're working on research. We all know Davis Finney's working on living well today, and that every victory counts. We know that about them. People don't know about us yet.
right.
So my feeling was the Shake Challenge is a chance to put yes and exercise right up in front.
I've got something to that end, and we're gonna have to save it for the next one. Very
Okay,
good, and we'll see you
I'm
on the next
telling
dose.
you.